War has turned into a video game. Now Ukrainian soldiers are earning points for eliminating Russians, and the more they do it, the more weapons they get. It sounds like science fiction. January 26, 2026. Zelensky confirmed this publicly.
Currently, more than 80% of enemy targets are destroyed precisely by drones. The overwhelming majority are domestic drones, and it is very gratifying that they are Ukrainian-made drones. Just last year, 819,737 targets were hit precisely by drones.
We clearly record every damage, and we also have
scores for each damage. You know this from your own example. Our electronic point bonus system works to scale the results of the defense. In December, our units achieved a result of 35,000 enemy occupants destroyed. Thank you for this result. See you next time. These are the occupants who were killed and also those who were seriously injured. To give an example, and it's quite a revealing example. During the 10 years of conflict in Afghanistan, the Soviet army suffered losses that were half as many as the losses the Russians had in just 1 month of this war.
80%. Let me translate that number for you. 2,800 Russian targets destroyed per day, one target every 30 seconds. And here's what nobody is telling you. This system, which looks like a video game, is making Russia bleed in a way that even Putin never imagined. In this video, you'll understand how Ukraine turned modern warfare into a game where killing generates resources and courses to kill even more, and why Russia, even knowing this, can't compete. Keep watching, because what you're about to see has completely changed the war. Before we continue, can I show you something? To understand how Ukraine reached this level of dominance, we need to go back in time a bit. The year was 2022 and the war had just begun. Ukraine was facing a brutal problem. Russia has more tanks, more artillery, more soldiers, more of everything. It was clear that this was a war of numbers and Ukraine was losing. But at some point between 2023 and 2024, someone in the Ukrainian government had a revolutionary idea. The Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhail Fedorov, looked at the drones they were already using and thought, what if we turn this into something bigger? What if we created a system where soldiers want to use drones? Here's the surprising part. They asked themselves, what if we turned war into a game? Yes, Ukraine gamified the war. To gamify means to turn something into a game, with points, rankings, and real rewards, like those apps that give you medals for walking, except here the points buy weapons. And before you think this is absurd, let me explain how it works. Picture this. A Ukrainian soldier stands on the front line. He's operating a drone, not a giant drone like in American movies, but a small drone that you control as if you're playing a video game, seeing everything from a first-person camera. Ukrainians call it a first-person view drone. He looks at the screen and spots a Russian T-90 tank in the distance, $3 million worth of metal and technology. He maneuvers the drone, gets closer, the camera is recording everything, and then impact. The tank explodes. But here's the detail that changes everything that happens after this attack. The video is automatically sent to a system called Delta. It's the Google Maps of the Ukraine war. There, military analysts watch, confirm, yes, it's a T-90 tank, yes, it was completely destroyed. And then that soldier's unit gets 40 points in their digital account, points like in a video game, but these aren't symbolic points. These points can be spent on real equipment, on real drones. Ukraine created a marketplace called Brave One, and it works exactly like Amazon. You enter and see a catalog of over 1,000 products. Attack drones, night drones, batteries, night vision equipment, everything with a price in points. And here is the insane math that makes this system work. That tank the soldier destroyed was worth 40 points. A heavy bomber drone, the kind that can carry out dozens of missions, costs 43 points. Do you see what's happening? A soldier destroys a $3 million tank, earns 40 points, destroys a few more enemy soldiers, earns 3 more points total, 43 points. He then buys a bomber drone to destroy more targets. It's a cycle. The more you destroy, the more resources you have to destroy even more. But this system is even more impressive. The points table isn't random, it reflects exactly what Ukraine needs at each moment. In 2025, they doubled the value for eliminating a Russian soldier from 6 points to 12 points. Why? Because Ukraine realized that depleting Russia's urban human reserves is more valuable than destroying. Tanks can be produced, soldiers can't be trained, but there's a value that's even more impressive. Do you know how much it's worth to capture a live Russian prisoner using a drone to convince him to surrender? 120 points, 3 times more than destroying a tank. The math is simple. Russian prisoners can be exchanged for captured Ukrainian soldiers. Ukraine has literally put a higher price on saving Ukrainian lives than on destroying Russian hardware. And at the end of 2025, they added something that shows how humane this system is. Using an unmanned ground robot to rescue a wounded Ukrainian soldier under enemy fire is worth 50 points more than destroying a tank. Ukraine created a system where saving a Ukrainian life is more profitable for the unit than killing enemies. They turned compassion into an incentive. I'll illustrate this with a story. There's a unit called the Birds of Magyar. The commander is a guy named Magyar. Just a nickname, really, for him and his unit. In a single month, they racked up 16,000 points. 16,000. With those points, they bought 500 attack drones, 500 night drones, and 100 heavy lift drones. All done directly. No red tape or waiting for Ministry of Defense approval. The commander determines the unit's needs and orders them. With P-oneSun, the government pays the manufacturer, and in days, not months, in days, the equipment arrives at the front line. And there's more. P-oneSun has an evaluation system. The soldiers rate the products. If a drone has a defect, it gets 1 star, loses ranking. The manufacturer sees this and improves the product within weeks. It's innovation at combat speed. Ukraine has more than 500 private companies competing to make the best drones. Because the soldiers choose, and that forces quality. But before we continue, you need to understand one thing. Russia tried to copy this. They created the Sudoplatov Battalion. They also created drone production centers, but it didn't work. The reason is that Russia couldn't copy the most important part, the decentralized system. In Russia, everything comes from the top down. If a commander needs equipment, well, he asks for it. The request goes up the chain of command. It takes months. The equipment arrives late, or worse, the money gets diverted along the way due to corruption. In Ukraine, the commander buys directly within days, without intermediaries, which makes all the difference. Now let me show you the technologies that are on the battlefield right now. The first one is fiber optic drones. Russia is very good at something called electronic warfare. They have equipment that blocks radio signals. These blockers, called jammers, can take down regular drones. So Ukraine developed something ingenious, drones that unroll a wire during flight, a fiber optic wire, up to 20 km long. The drone is physically connected to the operator by this wire. No signal jammer in the world can interfere with a physical wire. And what about the video that comes through this wire? The quality is perfect, no interference, surgical precision. Russia spent billions of dollars on jamming technology, and Ukraine solved the problem with a wire that costs a few dollars. The second technology is night drones. The Russians gave these drones a nickname, Baba Yaga. This name comes from a Slavic folklore witch who flies at night and devours children. The nickname was no accident. These drones are large, heavy, and completely silent. They fly at night when everything is dark and drop heavy anti-tank mines directly onto the roads that Russia uses to resupply its troops. Russian soldiers are now afraid to leave the trenches when it gets dark, because any movement can attract a Baba Yaga. And worst of all, you don't hear it coming. It just appears, drops the mine, and disappears into the darkness. And while Ukraine innovates at an impressive speed, Russia improvises in whatever way it can. Russian soldiers now put metal cages on top of tanks, screens, anything to try to block the drones. But now we've reached the most important moment of this story, and this is where everything connects. While Ukraine led drone attacks, Russia also uses drones, larger ones. Large drones manufactured by Iran called Shahed, and Russia uses them to attack Ukrainian cities, electrical infrastructure, residential buildings. In July 2025, Russia launched 203 of these drones per day. Ukraine needed a daily response, so it developed interceptor drones to hunt other drones. The first ones were good, but they had a problem: low speed. Regular Shaheds fly at 200 km/h. They're easy to intercept, but then Russia evolved and created jet-powered Shaheds that fly at 500 km/h. And the Ukrainian interceptors weren't fast enough, so Ukraine developed something new, the P-oneSun, a jet-powered interceptor drone capable of flying at 500 km/h, able to operate at 5,000 meters altitude. And here's the moment you've been waiting for. December 25, 2025. Christmas night. Ukrainian families are in shelters. Russia launches a massive wave of drones. Shahed Ajat, an act against civilian targets, is a deliberate attempt to break the Ukrainian spirit. On the most important Christian holiday, sirens sound, people run to shelters, and in the dark of night, a P-oneSun takes off. The cameras capture everything. The drone speeds up to 300, 400, 450 kilometers per hour. The sensors detect a Shahed Ajat in the air. The P-oneSun turns, chases from a distance, closes into 500 meters, 300 meters, 100 meters, and then impact. The Shahed explodes in the sky. Pieces fall in the open field. No one dies. And for the first time in human history, a jet drone has just shot down another jet drone in real combat. Not in a test or exercise, but in war on Christmas night. And the message that's sent was clear. Ukraine is not just defending itself, it's innovating faster than Russia can attack. And that brings us to the future, 2026. Ukraine has set a goal that seems impossible: to produce 7 million drones in 1 year. 7 million. That means producing almost 20,000 drones every day. It's an industrial scale that no country has ever attempted. The cost, $120 million. And to protect this production, Ukraine is building hidden underground factories,
descentralizadas,
protected from Russian missiles. Second goal, 50,000 Russian casualties monthly. For perspective, Russia lost 15,000 soldiers over 10 years in Afghanistan, but now they lose more than that in just 1 month. And the Secretary General of NATO used one word to describe this: unsustainable. Russia can't replace these losses. But then, what does all this mean? It means that Ukraine not only survived, it completely redefined what modern warfare means. It proved that technology and systems can beat sheer numbers. It proved that gamification isn't just for video games, and it set a standard. All future wars will be measured against what Ukraine is doing now in 2026. The era of the tank as king of the battlefield is over. The era of the drone has begun, and Ukraine is writing the manual. Now, I want to know your opinion. Do you think the gamification of war will spread to other armies around the world? Or does it only work because Ukraine is fighting for survival? Leave it in the comments, and if this video impressed you, share it with someone who needs to see this, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.